Um, Now that Film Fest is solely not under your position anymore, what's your plan during the fall semester?
Although Film Fest is not directly under me, I definitely plan on taking a part of it, and if possible, a big part of it, because Film Fest this year was great, and I want to be a part of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
As EVP, are you willing to push for more volunteer work or community service for VSA? How can you encourage our members to participate in them, if you do?
Well, I still retain connections with other organizations, and I do see volunteer opportunities arise, so there's definitely a need for volunteers. To encourage GBMers, I believe that if all CAB shows up and CAB has a welcoming vibe, then it would encourage GBMers to also go to these volunteers events.
How can you help the ICC improve the relationship with other VSAs?
Well, I think a personal connection with other ICCs at other schools would definitely help. Going to meetings will be pretty crucial because that's where you retain and receive information from others. Other than that, there's not really much more you can do besides just maintain that personal contact between other ICCs.
Additionally, in the past, we have been struggling with connecting our members and VSA in general to the San Diego Vietnamese community. You mentioned in your speech, however, that you are very connected to that community. How do you suggest we change that disconnect between the two groups?
Well, first off, I think we need to get to know one another, because when I first joined VSA, there was little to no mention of VI. They were non-existent and did not really go together. So if we start developing this relationship, I feel that it is possible for VSA and VI to be connected in sort of a way. And with that, I think we can sort of get closer, you know?
Gotcha. Okay. In addition to being EVP, you're also the ICC co. So we're going to ask you the prep questions for ICC as well.
What's your transportation to ICC meetings in Orange County?
Well, a car. ICC meetings are up in Orange County, so it might be a little bit hard to be up there all the time, but I think as long as I get the information from there, if I hold contact and hold relationship with members of ICC, it should be fine, but definitely always try to make effort to go up there every time.
Being ICC can be an expensive position, as with any position. It is not just about dedicating your time. That considered, how do you plan to handle this if you're not financially stable?
Well, even though it is tough and sometimes not really welcoming the position, there are always ways around it. You can work harder, pick up another job, budget some things. There's always a way to budget and get through, you know? There's always a way.
Okay. How would you motivate our members to interact with external VSA members at events or at our own events?
Well, at other events, I believe that since they're heading up there themselves, that means they are encouraged to, and they want to meet other external organizations. So when we're going to external events, it's sort of like a symbol, like, hey, remember to meet other people, make new friends, you know? Internally, at internal events, it might be a little bit more difficult because some of our members here are more reserved, but I believe if I push them and I encourage them to open up, I believe we can all be friends and get along.
Nice.
How would you motivate our members to go to attend more external events, especially when relate to the down south?
I believe the best way to encourage members would be to show them how events are by either pictures or video recaps, because a lot of these events, you don't really experience them. You just see a slide about them, you see a picture and a description. If you really show the GBMer what the event is about, then I feel like they will be more motivated to go.
Relating to that question, in the case that our school cannot make it to an external event for whatever reason, how will you plan to keep good relations with that school?
Well, I hope other schools understand that we're in a different position than them, that they're farther than us, and we won't be able to make every single event just as they won't be able to make every single one of our events. So with that into consideration, I believe that other schools will kind of like know where we're coming from and respect our decision.
And then, like, how would you, what would you do if you can't physically make it to ICC meetings, considering they're bi-weekly?
If I cannot directly be there, then I will probably maybe Skype or Hangouts. As long as I get the information and information gets across to me, I feel like there is no real problem.
And now we're gonna open it to the the floor questions from earlier. So this question is, if elected, what would you do in the case that there's a conflict with one of our members and a member from another school?
Can you elaborate on kind of conflict?
Yeah, so example, if there was a disagreement between our members and like something trivial that's brought up some like an argument between our members and then members from another school that we don't know.
I think everyone in VSA is here to make friends and have a good time. So I feel like if they do get into an argument, they're not seeing straight, they're seeing red or something, you know? So if we can pull them back, bring them back to the realization that they're here to have a good time, and be friends with one another, I feel like we can resolve it probably pretty quickly.
Nice. Additionally, how would you handle a possible burnout for yourself and other members of the cabinet?
Well, for myself specifically, I tend to burn out a lot, but when it comes to things I like and I like doing, I almost never burn out. EVP would be something I would enjoy a lot. I actually look forward to this, so personally I don't think I'll be able to burn out. For other members, I think they just need to know that we're there for them, that we're all here together, and that if they burn out, we're here for them. Like, they're not there alone.
Nice. And then how would you deal with the situation of, for example, if other ICCs were not taking initiative in doing whatever task that ICCs are supposed to be doing at that time and not being willing to work with you on those projects?
Well, if one ICC specifically doesn't want to interact with me and communicate with me, I think I can bring it with all ICCs, because ICC, I don't think it's just one person. Even though they represent that one school, ICCs involve everyone. So if there's a individual problem between me and someone else, I think bringing up with the group of ICCs is the best thing to do.
And then finally, for the floor questions, regarding VCN this year, there was a conflict with another school's VCN. How would you prevent this and work around this issue?
Well, can you elaborate what the problem was specifically?
So for this year, our VCN specifically was overlapping with another school. It was Fullerton's, which is in the OC area. So it's closer to a majority of other schools. What would you do to either prevent this, or if this did happen and we couldn't get around it, what would you do to alleviate the problem?
Well, planning and communication between ICCs and our personal events would be the first step, because I believe if we plan things thoroughly, nothing like that would happen. But if it does happen, I feel like both of us would understand, like, our event and their event, that since they're conflicting, not all members will be able to attend theirs and they can't be able to attend ours, so there's nothing we can really do around it besides trying not to repeat the same problem.
Okay. So that's the end of the floor questions for ICCs. Is there any additional floor questions for EVP position?
So as an EVP, also ICC, you have a responsibility to like the Vietnamese community and like UVSA, right? So in the situation where two events, one from UVSA and one from like say Raya, happens on the same day, which one would you prioritize, or how would you deal with it?
Although I look forward to having a good relationship with VIA, I think VSA would always come first because it's our organization and it's about us, and an external organization would come second. And I believe VIA would understand that as well because they wouldn't sacrifice their event to come to one of ours.
One question is,
What does UVSA stand for?
United. I don't know what UVSA specifically stands for, but it's a conglomerate of all of VSA. So it's every single VSA grouped together in a big VSA.
Is Union of Vietnamese Student Associations?
Thank you.
okay, are there any other floor questions?